as cool kids would say,
Action?
no, let's go.
Let's go! We're here with Dean Morash, the one and only Dean Morash. Dean, what do you think of auctioning your car or co-signing? What's the pros? What's the cons?
Great question. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving hangover to everybody. Your turkey is settling in nicely, mixed up with all the booze that you drank yesterday.
I'm still recovering.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah. I saw a few people that might have overindulged last night. I won't go into details. Wasn't me, but
Okay.
well. Hey, so the auction. There's a lot of interest in auction, right? Whether it's bring a trailer, whether it's Mecum, physical auction where you actually go or phone in bids. A lot of our customers want to know, would they be better off selling their car through an auction? And do we coordinate that and run that like a consignment sale, or do they do it themselves? First, let's talk about auctions in general, especially the ones that are online, like Bring a Trailer, and there's a lot of others. I would never recommend a customer do that themselves if they've never done it before. The biggest thing is, really, you have to be prepared for literally 10s, 20, 30 questions from all the people, the keyboard warriors. You're going to ask tough questions. And so you really have to manage that actively. So most of our clients are busy doing their day job, running their business, and they don't have time for that. Plus, a lot of those questions can get a little surly. So you've got to have the right soft skills not to get upset when people claim that your car is broken or repaired when it's done.
So more red tape if you do it that way online. That's why we would need someone like you, an expert that would be able to help facilitate those types of transactions, the paperwork, the logistics and whatnot.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite. Well, when we consign a car, customer comes to us and said, hey, Dean, we need SoCal Classic to sell this car for us. And we do that. We have a consignment program. But under that consignment program are these auctions. So whether it's Hemmings, whether it's Bring a Trailer, we do that for our clientele. But we have a lot of experience handling those auctions on behalf of our client. And so you really got to be Johnny on the spot. You really have to have all your paperwork ready, all your receipts, all the history of the car, as much history as you need. We also know there's a lot of difference between selling a Porsche at an auction versus selling a Ford. Porsche people are very detail oriented and they want all the details. And so if you don't post enough details in your auction description and then you don't answer those questions fast enough, it looks like you're not being honest.
Got it.
And so it's not uncommon when an auction gets rolling to answer 5, 6, 7 questions a day, believe it or not. And some of them are, honestly, they're picking the fly shit out of the pepper, but you still have to answer, right? Even if somebody's saying, look, I looked down the side of that car and I think I saw a blemish. It looks like it's been repainted on that quarter panel, which is always my favorite. I'm like, wow, those pictures just weren't that good.
Yeah.
But those are the things you have to really prepare for, and that's what we do.
I guess my next question would be, is there any other alternative other than auctioning it off? Like, what other ways can we sell the car?
So the other alternatives that we have, or under our consignment program, we take photographs of those cars, we write the copy for the ads, and then we list those cars. And we take care of all the paperwork. We handle all those phone calls, emails, customers, clients, potential clients want to buy the car, and we handle that in person until the car sells. And so that's our typical consignment program. But we could also, in theory, take a car to auction on behalf of our client, right? And babysit that car throughout the, 3 or 4 days at the Mecum, right? Auction, for example, or Barrett-Jackson. But the problem with that is client would have to pay for our expenses. So we're talking about transportation, lodging, and food, for example, while we're there. If you take your car personally to an auction, let's say you do that yourself instead of asking us to do it, it's a very laborious process. You do have to answer questions. You got to be ready to talk about your car before it goes on the block, and you're going to be there for typically 2 to 4 days.
Okay, so hypothetically, what if I had a car that I needed auctioned off? Like, what are the first steps I would take? I'd definitely call you, but what are the other first steps?
Yeah, so one of the things that's super important, Gil, is you get your paperwork together. Some clients are really good about collecting the history of the vehicle, titles, registration, transfers, right? Other thing that we really appreciate is anybody that brings all the receipts from their experience with the vehicle and receipts from other owners. So all that's really necessary and important to us. If you don't bring it to us initially, we'll be asking for it. So that's super important that we can unwind the history and understand the vehicle's history and put that in the ad copy, whether it's bring a trailer or whether it's consignment. So that's kind of the pre-work that a customer needs to do. The other thing is they need to reveal what's wrong with the car. You know, drivers, owners, they know the 7 or 6 or 5 things that are bothering them that they never got fixed, or that maybe it was too expensive. You need to share those with us, and so we can be open and honest when we create an ad or when Bring a Trailer creates an ad. Those are the things I think that are most important.
Is there anything else that you'd want to add regarding auctioning off your car or
Sure.
the process?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. We could go on for days. Look,
I don't got days,
I'm
Dean.
not that. I'm feeling the pain. One of the things that I think happens, a lot of people are romanced by Bring a Trailer. Bring a Trailer in the last 2 years got sold about 2 years ago, made billions of dollars, and it really is the 800-pound gorilla in the auction room, right? Before that, everybody used to go to physical auctions, Mecum and Barrett-Jackson, those kind of things, travel all over the country, and go physically sit there in the bidding pit. But that's changed too. Now it's phone calls, phone bidding, it's online bidding, it's face to face. So those things have changed. But what a lot of clients, because they've fallen in love with this Bring a Trailer model, they want to know if they're going to make more money selling it through Bring a Trailer, us selling it through Bring a Trailer versus us consigning it. And the answer is typically not as much. The answer is you'll get less money if we sell it for you and Bring a Trailer than we would if we consign the vehicle. People would say, well, why is that? The reason why is because the buyer pays the commission to Bring a Trailer. So let's say we sold a car, a Porsche, for $100,000 on Bring a Trailer for them. The client pays 5 or 6% or whatever that percentage is to the Bring a Trailer, right? So what does that mean? The customer's not going to pay $105,000 or $106,000 for a car that's worth $100,000, right? So they're going to want to only buy it for $94,000, $93,500. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what happens. The actual sell-through prices on Bring a Trailer and all digital auctions are less than a car that sells face-to-face on the retail market, because clients aren't going to pay for their commission plus what they think the car's worth. It's just not going to happen.
What else? What else am I missing, Dean?
Come on, Kayla. You know the
What
answer
else?
to this question.
I don't. That's why I'm asking.
Don't lie. There's this notion of, well, my car's worth a lot of money, and so let's make sure we contact Bring a Trailer and get a good reserve. I've done the research. I think that car is worth $150,000. Let's make sure we get a reserve that's $150,000. It doesn't work that way. The dirty little secret that a lot of people don't know with these auctions is the auction house or auction site sets the reserve. They ask you what you would like. So in this hypothetical scenario, on behalf of the customer, I say, yes, we'd like a $150,000 reserve. That's what the market is. The auction site comes back typically like Bring a Trailer and says, that's nice. We've talked to our bidding desk or our auction desk, and they're willing to go as high as $130,000. Now, yeah, we go back and forth and we try to negotiate for a better number. Maybe they get it up to 132, 133, but they're very firm at some point in that reserve. And oftentimes that may not meet the expectations of the customer. So, it begs the next question. And the next question is, what do we do if the reserve doesn't meet the customer's expectations? Sometimes we proceed, right, with that listing. And I've seen a lot where the customer says, okay, I think it'll go up over that reserve at the end of the auction. I think that's okay. I'm not worried about it.
Do they have a choice at that point, or
no? They have a binary choice, right? Either to proceed with the auction or not. So if they decide to proceed and they say, hey, I think my car's worth $150,000, Bring a trailer said its reserve is 135, and they decide to proceed. Now, they run the risk of it not getting bid up much higher or any higher than 135, and that is, you know, it's only that question can only be answered by the owner of the vehicle if they want to take that risk. So compare and contrast that with us selling a car online on some of our digital sites that we use around the world, and we already had the conversation with the customer. Hey, I'm not going to take less than $145,000, right? So it's just something to keep in mind. There's no hard and fast rule. It's really up to the client at the end of the day.
Got it.
Last thing we should talk about is old school auctions. Sotheby's, Mecum we mentioned, you know, all the auctions that happened during Car Week up in Monterey, right? What about those? We touched on it a little bit, but I think those are less and less rational, logical sites for our clients. We don't see too many people going that direction. What I see in those auctions is big collections of cars being sold by the guys that have large collections, and that auction makes a lot of sense. But if you think about it, you live in Los Angeles or you live in Orange County, the closest one to ever get here is usually Scottsdale, right? So for sure, you're traveling multi-states to get your car there. You got to transport it, right? You got to pay for the transportation. You got to pay for the, you know, listing the vehicle. And what if you have a reserve on there? Let's say the reserve is 150 for that lovely Porsche, and it only gets bid up to 120. You paid the fees, you pay the transportation, car doesn't sell, you pay for the transportation back. So I'm not so sure moving forward that that's as attractive a model for the majority of my customers because of the potential for being out all those expenses, right? But let's say you're not so wrapped up in the number, then it makes some sense, right? Plus, one thing about those auctions, they do a great job of advertising. Ton of advertising at Mecum and Barrett-Jackson and Sotheby's and all those other ones that only the fancy pants people go to. Like,
yes.
Like you.
That's,
fancy pants.
Well, no, I think I'm the average Joe, but thank you. That's a confidence booster for sure, Dean.
You're real fancy pants, in my opinion. I've seen your clothes.
Well, thank you, Dean. Thank you for the insights.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate.
I hope that helps. I mean,
yeah,
it's a lot to consider when you're trying to figure out how to sell your car, and when you ask somebody to help us, like SoCal Classic Car Storage, not only do you want to, but what's the right way to go? It's a bit overwhelming, but some of these auctions too specialize in certain kind of cars. Mecum is really good at classics. Bring a trailer, really more of exotic and European cars. And the other thing is, if you're selling a custom car, bring a trailer. It's not going to accept a lot of custom cars. We've tried to get those custom hot rods on there, or custom, you know, classic muscle cars. Not happening. So we got to think about
different markets.
Yeah. What are they designed for? All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kyo.
Thank you, Dean.
Have
Appreciate
a great day.
You too.